Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on the video today. We are going to be talking about jig trailers in terms of how to modify your jig trailer and how to hook them onto your jig. This is something that I think a lot of people, there's not a lot of information out there, because you can modify your trailers on your jigs. You can do different stuff to them to actually give them better action and also allow for better hookups. And also, depending upon the way you hook a trailer on a jig, it can completely change or alter the profile. So we're going to give you guys some good tips and advice in today's video. Also, guys, just a quick reminder, I wanted to let everybody know that I've started up my on-the-water lessons again. Anybody interested in booking one with me, just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler. Shoot me a private message for the info there. And also, I'd like to invite everybody to please hit that subscribe button here to The Fishing Teacher. Free and easy, good way to support the channel, so really appreciate it. Okay, we have talked about this a little bit in the past, but I sort of want to get into this in a little bit more detail in today's video, because jig fishing and jerkbait fishing are my two favorite ways to catch a bass. And I do a lot of stuff on jigs, and a lot of people struggle with jigs. I hear it all the time about people say, I can catch them on a worm or a creature bait, but I can't catch many fish on a jig. And that's because there's a lot of variables to jig fishing. You got your colors, you got your sizes, you got your different profiles, trailers, there's a lot to it, a lot of different types of jigs. But regardless, on jigs, you always use a trailer, 99.9% of the time. So I sort of want to give you guys the different type of variations with that to sort of show you what I'm talking about. First of all, we'll be talking about my Blaukat throwback jig here by Cumberland Pro Lures, guys. Living rubber, hand-tied skirt. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description to my throwback jig link if you guys would like to order some. Without a doubt, I think it's the finest jig you can get on the market. So link in the description there. Okay, first of all, I want to show you a little bit about the modifications that you do on it, and then how to hook the trailer after you do the modifications. So the first one I want to talk about is the Zoom Big Salty Chunk and the Zoom Super Chunk here. Those are the two different variations. Now, when I'm using the chunk type trailer, I'm threading it on. But before you thread it on, there's a couple different modifications you want to make. This is an awesome trailer, guys. This Zoom Super Big Salty Chunk. I'll put that link in the description of this also. First one you do, guys, is take a pair of scissors, and you want to trim some off the front part of the chunk here, where it actually hooks in there. And see how I've trimmed that off of there? That gives you more, bite gap on your hook. There's less plastic there. And then another thing I do, I like to sort of, see how you got too many hard edges on that? I sort of like to round off those edges a little bit with my scissors. And I'll show you before and after what it looks like. Sort of take that, the little bit of unnatural looking stuff off of there. I'm a stickler for detail on this because I just think that bass study a jig. It's one of those lures, it's not a reaction bait. They actually get down and study it. So I'll take it like that. And then sometimes you can see how there's some sharp edges on the bottom. I'll sort of take those sharp edges off a little bit. And I'll show you the before and after here, what it looks like. So here is one straight out of the package like that. You can see it. It's got the, thick part in there. Here's the modification that I just did. So you can see, I've cut that out of there. And also you can see that I've sort of rounded off those edges a little bit. And then I've rounded off the bottom of them like that. So that's the way I modify the Big Salty Chunk. And then on this one, guys, it's just simple. You just want to, hook it right through the end. Try to get it as close to the end as you can, because the closer to the end you get. And then wet the hook a little bit, and that gets that to slide back and forth. And you actually want to waller that hook out just a little bit. Just sort of make that hole a little bit bigger, because that'll give that trailer more freedom of movement and give you better action in the water. So this is hooking the bait the traditional chunk style with the Big Salty Chunk. Now you can do the same thing with a Super Chunk. Again, I'll put all of the link in the description to all this. The Super Chunk is a longer trailer, so I'll do the same thing with that. I'll take it and I'll trim off the front like that to where it's a little bit more in there. And the Super Chunk, it's pretty rounded as it is, so that's the only modification that I do. And then if you want to hook the Super Chunk on, same type of deal, just like that. And this creates a long, big profile jig. Okay, now for the others, you're threading it on there. So if I want to thread the thing on there, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to thread it on without modifying it first, but then I'm going to modify it. I'm going to come through all the way, and then I'm going to thread it up on, the Blaukat throwback jig. It's got a really nice keeper right there. So once you put it up on that keeper, it's never coming off. And then once I get that, I'm going to trim some of this off of here, because you can't see any of this. It's covered up by the skirt, so there's no reason to have it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to knock off as much of that plastic as I possibly can that could possibly get in the way of the hook set. And because I'm mainly concerned with the back leg, so I knock a lot of that off, make it where it's a little bit more symmetrical on there. And then this is what it looks like when you thread it on like there, smaller profile with that. But the main thing, guys, is just, try those modifications. Not only gives your bait better action, but again, you have more of a bite gap on your hook. So when you do get a bite, you don't lose the fish near as much. And don't be afraid to experiment with colors. I mean, when you're talking about jig colors here, guys, that one of the best things you can do is get you a wide array of dyes. Like get you some chartreuse dye, orange, blue, red, and really spend some time, dyeing like the ends of these trailers, because that makes a big difference. I probably dye or put some type of dye on my trailers about 75% of the time. Not so much if I'm using the darker colors like the black or blue, but if I'm using a more natural color, I'm usually using always some type of a orange or chartreuse or blue, accent color on the bottom with the dye. So anyway, hope it helps you guys catch a few more, and we'll talk later.